Hey everyone. The title of today's message is Blind Eye. The Bible verse is Luke 6:6-7. On another Sabbath, Jesus entered the synagogue and was teaching, and a man was there whose right hand was withered. And the scribes and the Pharisees watched Jesus to see whether he would heal on the Sabbath, so that they might find a reason to accuse him. What a strange, legalistic, and impersonal world. The Pharisees were far more concerned about rules than people. Here was a man whose hand was withered, which means nerve damage and atrophy, a result of what we don't know. Regardless, he was missing the use of his hand in a day and age when manual labor was necessary to provide for oneself, not to mention a family. In short, his need was great and obvious to onlookers. Yet, the religious leaders saw past him to Jesus, the object of their distress. This poor deformed man who had a name, a story, fear about the future, and probably hunger pain was just a pawn and a potential opportunity to trap the man derailing their world. And Jesus was derailing their world. Instead of waiting with bated breath to hear the Pharisees speak, people were now flocking to the man from Nazareth who continually bent the rules, which made him far more interesting and accessible to the people than religious leaders ever were. He was unassuming and meek, yet authoritative and confident and articulate, all while doing things no one else could do, like healing ailments, driving out demons, and refusing to cower to the presence of the powerful. So people flocked to him, and he did not disappoint. But Jesus knew their thoughts, and he said to the man with the withered hand, "Come and stand here." And he rose and stood there. And Jesus said to them, "I ask you, is it lawful on the Sabbath to do good or to do harm, to save life or to destroy it?" And after looking around at them, all he said to him, "Stretch out your hand." And he did so, and his hand was restored. But the Pharisees were filled with fury, and they discussed what they might do to Jesus. Luke 6:8-11. It's easy to find fault with the Pharisees. They really could be awful, and in few words, Jesus publicly outed them for it. But lest we become like them in self-righteousness and self-involvement, consider how most of us are like them. Think about the homeless people we avoid making eye contact with as they hold cardboard signs near traffic lights. And the understaffed soup kitchens, under-attended mission trips, and underfunded relief organizations. Let's be honest, most of the time it's easier to ignore the need. Our hearts are in fact calloused from exposure to so much of it. We often don't give needy people a second thought. Sometimes we feel annoyed and even put upon another person in another light. We think, how much loose change am I expected to carry around? And yes, like the Pharisees, we sometimes feel resentment towards those we accuse of trying to make us feel guilty. But like the man with the withered hand, they have names and stories. They have fears about the future and hunger pain. Never mind the possible reasons why their need is great. Their need is obvious. And like the Pharisees, we have much to learn from the Nazarene who never turned a blind eye. Today's prayer focus. Thank God that he didn't turn his eye from your needs. Repent of when you've behaved like a Pharisee and ask him for the same heart for the need as Christ had. Questions moving forward. Obviously, we can't respond to every need, but think of a time that you could have but didn't. Why did you turn away? How would you handle it now if you got a second chance? Why did Jesus respond to needy people the way that he did? What do you think he saw when he looked at them? List some ways you could react to obvious need in the future, in addition to giving money. The answer is too easy. That hits home. I don't know if it does for you guys, but it definitely does for me. And it definitely, I am guilty of driving down the road and seeing somebody at the side of the road and trying not to make eye contact because I would feel guilty for not helping. But reading all that makes me think of the Bible verse where it talks about, if you didn't feed the hungry, if you didn't clothe the poor, if you didn't, give somebody shelter, like these are the things that you didn't do, then you didn't do it to Jesus. So maybe we should take a second guess or think again and be more helpful if we have the ability to. That's all that I have for today. I hope you all have a blessed evening, and I will be back on here tomorrow. Thank you.